This is your Augie Doggy inspirational meme of the day.
They say you like your my connection must be shoddy.
Oh, a little bit. Nothing egregious. I can hear you well enough. Oh
Okay.
yeah,
I got my mic is plugged in. Let me try my phone.
Okay. Well, guys, I just want to let y'all know that we are live and direct right now. We're about to talk about Agatha All Along, the first 3 episodes. We're gonna have some fun tonight, so I hope you guys are ready to chop it up with us. We are live, so any live chat that you guys have, we will be responding to it. And yeah, we're looking forward to it. Well, as I wait on Avia to come on back, let me sit back a little bit closer. Yeah. So, yeah, we just we were excited for Agatha All Along. A lot of questions we were hoping to be asked. Some of the interviews I personally read were very encouraging about what to expect, and yeah, okay.
Yeah, having some internet issues. But we are here with. We're back with What's the Tea? This Mike's not here right now, but we're coming back with What's the Tea with Agatha All Along. And thank you, Q, for joining me.
100%. Glad to be here. Glad to kick it.
Wait. Okay. Yep. So there's a lot to unpack here. So we know Agatha Harkness from WandaVision and all the chaos that she caused while in the show. And I love the fact that she got her own spinoff because her backstory and just her personality is just so interesting. Like she's a villain. They're trying to humanize her, but at the same time, she still has those very negative qualities, but you just love them anyway. And that definitely shines in these first 3 episodes because, you know, the first, it's like, I love how they kind of juxtapose like her, like the human side of her. Because, you know, when the fact that in WandaVision, you know, Wanda is going through all these different decades of sitcoms, the first thing we see is like a murder mystery, you know, like the show with Kate Winslet, Eastmore. I can't remember the name of the show at the moment, but
Mayor of Easttown.
And you could tell. Yeah. That's what it was. But I was like, what? I can't remember it for the life of me, but it was very similar to that show. I find it interesting that Agatha's how she's viewing her world through a TV show. It's murder. It's like a murder mystery, and the mystery is how is she going to get her powers back? Specifically, since she's been in this spell that Wanda casted for 3 years, and the fact that like it's layers, like everything about it's layers. So like when she's driving, she's whispering, well, she's not whispering per se, but she's humming the tune of the Ballad of the Witch's Road. And you don't really think about it at first, but the fact that that ballad is centered around everything that's happening in the show. And the part, like, I love that it's like literal layers. Like, it's literal layers, like from the character actually wearing layers of clothes, like jackets on sweaters on t-shirts. It's like literal layers trying to peel back little by little what's happened to Agnes/Agatha. And as she's discovering that different aspects of her so-called reality are her figuring out that she has to get her powers back, and Rio kind of helping her understand that, and what the Darkhold, like about the Darkhold and everything around her. And when she finally does get her powers back, and she's literally peeling off her different versions of herself that were in WandaVision, and I thought that was incredible visual storytelling. Like, she's literally peeling the layers of herself to be her true self, and that's something I was like, oh, that's deep. That's real deep.
Oh yeah, like it's funny because as we get into each other, as we get into the next two episodes, it'll become more apparent. But I like the fact that this kind of was an epilogue to WandaVision and their framing device of a significant TV show or era of a TV show, as the focal point that ties into all of the big, overarching storyline stuff. And using a HBO crime detective show, it was very interesting to me because I had never watched Mayor of Easttown. In fact, if you would have said that was the inspiration, I would have assumed it was like a BBC show, which they kind of also play like a little Easter egg about that by referencing that aspect of it. But using this as, because a lot of these HBO shows in general that are rooted in reality, a lot of their core theme / plots revolve around inner turmoil of the protagonist. So more so like how they are dealing with their own emotional core, who they are, and everything like that. So using that aspect to, like you said, start to peel back the layers of who Agatha is, rediscovering herself, I found that was very interesting and a very clever way to tie everything in a nice little bow. One of the things. Oh, go ahead.
Oh, no, go ahead. Keep going. Go ahead.
I was going to say, one of the things I really found interesting was kind of like how they still, because if you go back to the WandaVision, you know that Agatha more or less was the fourth wall breaking character because she knew from Jump Street that it was a hex, it was a fabricated reality. So she was always winking at the audience, both metaphorical and probably literal as well. So this episode still had that aspects of it, but it was very subtle, almost as in a way to show that, she's not in her own reality. Because I'll be honest, I forgot it. I had to rewatch the season finale to WandaVision to really get an idea of it. But I thought that Wanda physically sent Agatha to a different reality, right? I thought that they were. I thought that's what she. I thought that's what happened. I didn't realize she just whammied her mind and she's just been bumping around Westview as thinking she was still a character in a TV show. So I that was very interesting. And also I'm gonna toss it back to you. And also just the fact that, and she still thinks that she's the protagonist of everything, that she's still in the right. But we'll touch on that as we keep going on and on. But yeah, I'm tossing it back to you.
And one thing that I love, because the sexual tension is there, is between Rio and Agatha. Like, I wanted further on what did she do? Because spoilers of who Rio really is, like they spoiled that. So I'm like, okay.
Oh no, we're not going to. Yeah, we're not.
That's what I said. I said I'm not going to spoil it. I said I'm not. I said I wasn't. so it's just interesting just to see their relationship and how that's going to grow in the tension. And I thought the introduction of the reintroduction of who really is not her as other detective, but her as Agatha's adversary. Once the spell, once Teen breaks the spell, breaks the hex, and Rio just busts in the house and just going at Agatha right from the jump, like, oh yeah, something happened to these two, just like in episode 2. Like, I'll get to that in a minute, but I definitely want to see what their relationship is going to turn into, or what caused the tension. Also, there's been so many diversions of what about the Darkhold, like just all these theories that have been going around, there's just so many theories out there right now, and episode 1 does a great job of including details, like of what it could be. Like, for instance, like with Teen's, like when Agatha's interrogating Teen and he has black around his fingers. It's like, when you use the Darkhold, you have black around your fingers to show that it's dark magic. But he's like, no, that's just ink from the finger, from the fingerprinting. Right. There are just so many red herrings, just so many diversions. Or
shout outs to a pup named Scooby Doo for introducing the concept of a red herring to me, because there's like you said, so many red herrings. Or are they? But yes, but no, right. But who knows?
Like there's so many things. Like there's so many theories out there that's like, it could be him, but it could also be him because of this. Like, there are just so many things out there. Like,
yeah, it's
when
like, go ahead.
It's like, because I don't want to spoil it, but again, they spoiled it on the timeline already. As to who he is. But I'm not gonna say it. I'm not gonna say who he is. But just the fact that if that is who he is, then everything just makes perfect sense as to why they're trying to say it might be this person. Because I mean, there's a good case. There is an excellent case of evidence of why people think that Teen is her son, Nicholas Scratch. I mean, there are several good reasons to indicate why he is. Also, good reasons as to why he's not. And
let us know down in the comments. No spoilers. Let us know down in the comments who you go. What are you guys thinking about if you're unspoiled, unsullied? Let us know your theories. If you are spoiled and sullied, just like the video, just like that. But if you're unsullied and you're not spoiled, let us know your theories and everything like that. Let's get the conversation rocking and going and see what's going on.
And just like with like the body, right? Like people, it's Wanda. People assume it's Wanda, right? But there's also this theory around that body is actually the Darkhold, because if you look at the tag on the toe of the body, when she goes to the morgue to look at the body, it has Wanda's name at the bottom. Wanda's name appears at the bottom, and then Agatha's name appears on the bottom, and then all these dates. But they're go ahead, Keith. Go ahead.
Yeah. I was just going to say, add in all the people who held the Darkhold, not Darkhold, and not necessarily people who died. So yeah.
Mm-hmm. So I mean, that's interesting because that's a person like. It's like this personification of the Darkhold, which is so interesting to me. Like all these theories, like it just makes the show just more interesting, and just like it's like that's the detail of the intention, like the intention to throw you off, like the intention of everything. Like that's I love that, and just the first episode had me. I mean, I was excited to watch in the first place, but the first episode had me hooked. Like it was the perfect reintroduction of Agatha.
One of my favorite things about episode 1 is how once you learn that Agatha wasn't ever going anywhere and doing any of the things she was actually doing, and she was just inside her home, it adds a new layer to the interrogation scene, because at first you think that Teen is using magic to kind of like smoke bomb Agatha and get basically make sure he can escape and whatnot, or trying to. But in reality, it's Agatha's mind starting to break through from the whammy Wanda put on her at the end of WandaVision. So he's like, yeah, like there isn't, because there is nobody. You when you were in your whoop-de-doo, you were just taking pictures of flowers, and then the window that's supposed to be the double-sided mirror, that's just a picture, because he's actually in her house. So his perspective is different from her perspective. So I figured I like that. I like the way they did that. They handled that. And then also, like, when she, and this is more so in episode 2 than episode 1, kind of jumping ahead just a little bit, but when she's like, oh, okay, we'll go find the rest of the witches we need for our coven, and she sits down in her chair like it's her car and everything like that. But it's it's just
okay, how do I do yeah, that was funny. Like there was definitely a lot of humor in it. Like
very much so.
Once it got out of that serious, detective show mode, and it went to Agatha's real life, that's when everything started getting there. The humor started to show, because like did that tickle, and then Agatha's like coochie coochie coo, like just like this, just funny stuff like that, and Agatha's true personality starts to come out. Like she's a backstabber, like she can't be trusted. She's always out for her own ends. And this that like if you go to episode 2, speaking of that, let's go to episode 2. Like you said, Agatha and Teen are pretty much on a quest to find members so they can have a coven. So Agatha can go to the Witch's Road and go to the end of it and get her powers back. So her and Teen are on this quest to find witches, and the first witch they come to is Liliana, who's played by the incomparable Patty LuPone. Like the casting on this show was perfect. Patty LuPone plays Liliana, who's a divination witch, and it's funny because when her and Teen come in, Agatha tries to pretend to be a mom, and Teen is her son, and Agatha just starts lying. And so to kind of feel Liliana out to see if she's the real deal. At first, Agatha's making stuff, and Liliana's going with it. And all of a sudden, Liliana says something that shakes Agatha to where Agatha's like, oh, she's it. Like, she's the real thing. And that's when, Agatha asks Liliana to join her coven. And, Liliana's like, why would I want to join Agatha Harkness's coven? Like, why would I want to do that? Because Agatha has a bad reputation. I didn't read your fortune. I read your reputation. Like, I know you. Like, I know what you're about. I don't want anything to do with it. Because I know at the end of the day, when it comes to me or you, you're going to choose you every single time. And, like, just Agatha's interaction with each witch, it's like, yeah, this is a forced sisterhood, but it's going to turn out to be probably one of the best sisterhoods, because Jen, who's played by Shihir Zamata, she Agatha, another witch Agatha knows, goes in. Jen is this natural. She has natural hair care. She has a natural beauty line.
Yes,
candles and all this stuff. Like she and organic.
Very Gwyneth Paltrow inspired in terms of what type of candles and everything like that, and that type of medicinal use.
Yeah, and Jen was a potions expert. Like she was a potions witch, and same thing. Like Agatha goes in there, is like, "Hey, Jen," and Jen's like, "Agatha, what are you doing here?" Like they hate each other. Like you can tell. Like the moment that Agatha walks in, and the look that Jen gives her is like, "I don't like you. I don't like you," and the fact that Teen blackmails Jen. He shows her, the screenshot of the article saying that Jen is being sued. Like, do you want that getting out? Like, you're in a lawsuit right now. Like, you need us so that you can get your powers back. Because Jen is bound. I'm curious. Oh, well, we figure out how, like, that she didn't bind herself. Someone else found her, and
Right.
And Jen wants her power. She's like, I don't need these powers anyway. And then she was like, at the end of it, it's like, I've tried everything. Like, I've done everything I could to get my powers back. Don't you think if there was something else, I would have tried it by now? And Agatha was like, look, I need to push this guy. We're going down the Witch's Road. Meet me at my house, But Tim was ready. Tim, he had the cards with the addresses on it. Like, he was ready to go.
Oh yeah, like very. This is very premeditation. Very, yeah. I'm like, let's get this operation up and running. Let's do this right.
Like, Tim was ready to go down the Witch's Road. Like, every single time they left the witch, he already had a card ready. Like, here, meet us at this address before sunset. Like he was ready to go. And then they go to the mall, and what's her name? Her name is escaping me. Cute. What's her name? It's escaping me at the moment.
I'm trying to.
The protection witch.
Google. Three, two. Alice. Woo. Alice.
Alice. That's Alice. So Alice was a former cop who's now working in a store, like in a store in the mall, and Agatha uses Teen as a diversion to get Alice fired from the mall, so that she has no choice but to join them. And so Alice decides to join them, and when they all go to Agatha's house, Liliana, Jen, and Alice are there, but each of them represents an element. Liliana is air, Jen is water, Alice is fire, and they need earth.
Water, fire, earth,
and as a boy, yep. We may look bad, but we don't care. Shout out to the Hex Girls. And that's a diversion because, like I said, it's in the promo, so I can say it because it's in the promo already. It's not really a spoiler if it's in the promo. Rio says, I'm the Green Witch, right? And green is Earth, and
right.
It's a ploy because Rio also says, when Agatha's like, you don't have a heart. No, when they're fucking Rio and Agatha are fighting, Agatha says to Rio, you don't have a heart. She says, yes, I do. It's black. It's a black heart, obviously, and everyone associates that with Blackheart. And
right.
When Liliana gives her the list of the names of the witches for her coven, there's a black heart on it, and right. Agatha doesn't want to deal with her
because she tried to. Because
she goes to Sharon Davis, who is her neighbor, who in WandaVision goes by Mrs. Hart. So she's like, "Oh, Hart, okay." She uses her as another red herring so that she doesn't have to deal with Rio,
which I guess
Rio really is.
Right, and considering the fact that Rio tried to kill her at the end of episode 1, warned her, basically said that me and the Salem 7 are going to come and wreck shop on you because of what you did and everything like that, and some other things we may not be privy to just yet, but we will be. Agatha just really doesn't want to invest in that type of scenario. So she,
Mhm.
and it's like I can't wait until we talk about this very soon, because it's a very important part that I haven't seen a lot of people talk about all too much. But yeah, like you said, she goes to Sharon Davis, who was Mrs. Hart in WandaVision, and she keeps calling her Mrs. Hart because, again,
You want to
Agatha
make that
was
point.
right. Agatha is just very much so much of an ass. Like just just doesn't care about anything. She's just gonna just keep calling her by Mrs. Hart. And they start the Ballad of the Witch. Once she's assembled her coven, they start the Ballad of the Witch.
Mm-hmm. And I love that song has been on repeat ever since I heard it. Like when they performed it at D23, like it was incredible. It's like he was right. So they start singing the Ballad of the Witch's Road, right? And as they're doing that, Teen looks out the doorway because the door is gone because of the fight that Rio and Agatha had. He's looking out the doorway, and he sees one of the members of the Salem 7 out there while the song is going on. It's a very great like go back and forth between them singing the song and Teen having to deal with the Salem 7. And I'm like, y'all leaving this boy to fend for himself up there against 7 powerful beings. Like, what are y'all doing? So Teen is pretty much trying to guard the house while they're in the basement singing the song. And Teen decides, you know what? I'm not doing it. So he runs downstairs. Like, Agatha, we gotta go right now. So they look down the door. They open the door. They go down. And the end of the episode, it's the two of them. I mean, not all of them going down the stairs, and they're at the Witch's Road now. And
so
what?
So just a couple of things. Like one of the main things is when at first the ballad doesn't work, because obviously it wouldn't work because Mrs. Hart is not an actual witch and things like that. In fact, it doesn't actually work until Teen comes down there and everything like that, because for obvious reasons. But one of the things when Liliana points out, like, Agatha wasn't really trying to take us down the road. She just wanted us to get so mad at her so that we, blast her with whatever magic because Agatha establishes in the same episodes that, her powers only, she can only absorb powers when she's directly attacked with it. She absorbs, that's, her.
So she has like rogue powers. So she's like the rogue of the witch.
Right. So that's what she was really trying to do, so she can get her powers and then defend herself against the Salem 7 and things of that nature. But it just so happens they ended up finally opening up the Witch's Road, which, with Agatha, should I save this until? Yeah, I'll save this point until once we finish with we're recapping episode 3, because I feel like that'll be the most appropriate time to bring it up.
Mm-hmm.
But I will say that my full synopsis of episode 2 is I enjoyed that episode 2 it completely established that this isn't gonna be WandaVision part 2, in the sense of the entirety of the episode is going to be, or majority is going to be in a parody or a one-to-one of a classic television show, that it'll actually be a story revolving around these characters. Now, they'll be in scenarios that are being akin to classic tropes in TV shows, as we'll see with episode 3, but it's not the core of the show. So that's good. Oh, your internet's good now. You look clear as crystal.
I hope so. But I love the fact that they really are leaning into the witchcraft aspect of it.
Yes.
Like they really are. And they're doing their research. And I love that in episode 3, they're going down the Witch's Road, and they're like, look, there are going to be many trials, like as the song says. Because like I said before, like the ballad is the center of everything. Like it tells their past, it tells their present, and it tells their future. They're going to have many trials, and the first one, there's this. They walk down the road, and it's funny. They're walking down the road, and Miss Hart ventures out the road.
Goes off the beat.
she gets attacked by mud, and so they have to get her out. And just her, Miss Hart is just there. It's like, I didn't sign up for any of this. Didn't want this. And it's just Agatha putting her in this situation. Like, girl,
crazy ass situation. This crazy ass, and again, this just shows how deplorable Agatha is. She does not give a damn that Mrs. Hart is out of her element, completely out of her element. She just there's an end, and she's a means to that end, and she's gonna use her to whatever the consequence.
Mm-hmm. So once they rescue Miss Hart / Sharon Davis, there's this beach house, and it's Jen's trials, because she's the first one to see it. And so they go to the beach house, and they change into their fancy
big little their big little lies
attire, their rich housewife attire. And can I say, each of them was serving, even this in episode 4 when they go into the 70s, each person was serving their look. Every costume designers, tens across the board. So they get the first trial, and the trial is, and they have to drink the wine, right? And the wine is poison. They come to find out a few minutes later, the wine is poison.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's up to Jen to find the antidote.
Which I want to point out that the timer is the length of an average television episode. 30 minutes, which just subtly continues the whole television show aspect that they are still doing, but not as overtly as WandaVision.
Mm-hmm. And so it's up to everybody to find, they divvy up responsibilities. Like Alice and Teen, they go to find ingredients. Agatha and Liliana, they go and find certain ingredients. Jen is responsible, since she's the potions witch. She's responsible for making the potion. But Jen is having a hard time because she's bound. So she feels because she's bound, she can't really do it because she doesn't have any powers. But Teen is like, you don't have to have power. It's analog magic. It's about the craft of it. It's not about actually have power. It's actually just making something. And so
poor Mrs. Hart for being the first one to drink it too, BTW. That sucks.
She was drinking that wine. She had 2 whole glasses full. She was stressed out. That lady was stressed out.
And I also want to pat myself on the back because being the grandson of a grandmother who loves her wine, the very first time they read the riddle, I was like, they're talking about wine. They're talking I immediately caught that. I felt like Batman in a sense. And then it turned out to be, I'm like, yep, I know wine. I know a good wine description when I hear one. But yeah, Mrs. Hart, Sharon, she woo. And then when she started getting that hallucinations and she was like, Wanda, let him breathe. Let him breathe. I'm like, oh no. But yeah, as you were saying, Veronica and the crew, they were trying to get
so they're trying to get all the ingredients and everything they need for the potion. And while they're doing it, the poison is it's affecting them. First, looks like they got Botox, right? Their cheeks and lips and all this puffed up. And eventually, it goes away, and the next is hallucination is made. And during each person in innocent. Teen is the only one Teen is the hero of this episode because he's the only one who did not drink, even though he was going to. But Agatha was like, no. Which is another red herring, I'm telling you. But anyway, so each of them has their own hallucination. Liliana's was hers in the 1500s, a younger version of herself. Alice's was her mother who was a witch who got lost at the Witch's Road. And it's her mother telling her that her grandmother passed. And I think that's the moment that her mom went to go down the road. And then Agatha, at the end, Jen's, I think, is the most interesting to me. I think Jin is the most interesting because we see this doctor, right? This white doctor telling her she's pretty much a nuisance to him,
Right.
right? So and it was like his doctor wardrobe was like the late 1800s, early 1900s.
Very Frankenstein inspired.
And I think because at the when Jin is like, I can't do this, I haven't practiced, I can't make this. And Agatha pretty much gives her a pep talk. Look, Jin, I hate you, but I left you alone because you were doing important work. You can do this, right? When Agatha said that, I said, oh, I think I know what Agatha means. Because that time period, I think Jin was a midwife or some type of like medic around Jim Crow. And that doctor was doing experiments and doing something on the black people in her area, and she tried to do something to stop it. That's what I think happened.
That's a hell of a guess. I like that makes a lot of sense because why else would you let's be honest, why else would you emphasize this black woman who has stated she's been alive for centuries, and then this white doctor is the one accosting her? And like it's hard for me to believe that would not be a very valid reason as to why that's what's happened to her and why she's bound and why she can't practice the magic she wants to. So I would not be surprised, and I've thought about this for a week. I would not be surprised if Kale was not the secret protagonist of this, like outside of teen and things of that nature, wherever that goes. But I would not be surprised if Kale was not the secret main protagonist of all of this, who might have some more screen time down the road, just things of that nature. I did want to touch on one thing before, because this is the big one. This is like the big thing, the one thing that had everybody in a tizzy when it was said. But she was our first canonical character to name drop Mephisto. Full stop. When she was basically gossiping with Teen about Agatha and everything like that, when she was like, word on the street is that she sold her son's soul to Mephisto for the Darkhold. And that was like, as if for anybody who was in the trenches with WandaVision when it dropped, everybody and their mom was
everybody and their mama thought Mephisto was gonna be in the show.
Yep.
And one thing, like, another red herring is when she says that, the look on Teen's face. He's like, oh, I'm mad. He's like, oh. It's like, okay, that could be Nicholas Spratt, right? Because it's like, oh, because he's mad because his mom gave him up. That's what you would think. And another, like, oh, was when Jin's making the potion and she's like she needed that the thing that
the blood
that can, no the thing that's not the torch but the thing Teen put in the water to get the water to a certain temperature at a certain time, the cooking thing.
Yeah.
And he said my dad uses it. Like, who do we know who likes to cook?
Yeah, it's a lot of mystery.
Who do we know in the MCU that we see who likes to cook, that we've seen cook? That's all I'm gonna say.
Yeah. See, like and I already am certain that there are people out there in the world who watch this stuff and they're like, oh, it's obvious. It's so obvious who this person is and all of this, and it may and may not. But it's
like I said, they just do a good job of diverting, because like when Teen's like, I'll drink it, because when I think towards the end of the episode when Agatha, when they're trying to get Agatha to drink hers, but she's like, I'm not gonna do it, and she was like, I'll do it, and she turns to him like, no, with like a concerned look on her face, like a protective mother, like, oh, okay, y'all keep doing this, but we know y'all keep trying to do this, but we already know. But just like the subtleness, but we know, like, it's obvious. But
yeah,
I thought Teen in this episode, it goes to Teen and Jin, because Teen, he kept his composure during everything, to make sure that the task was done and the trial was complete.
Right.
And Jen, coming through and almost coming through in the end. There's the little hiccup that they didn't have Mrs. Hart / Sharon Davis's hair. So, besides that hiccup, because no one was thinking about that. But in the end, when they escape the trials, the house starts to flood. When they go back to the road, and they see that Sharon's dead because they forgot the hair, and Agatha goes, "Who?" And it cuts is off with the head.
A fantastic song. So
fantastic.
Now that we finished recapping all 3 episodes and everything of that nature, I wanna regurgitate a tweet I saw for the week, and it's so apropos. When they find out that Agatha lied and said and this is her first time going down the witch's road, they're going to be pissed, because I feel like there's going to be a lot more loss happening, because just with those hallucinations and everything we saw and how mysterious each one was in terms of what they meant to each character, like we're going to see, like, Agatha has never done this before. She's lied. She's never, like, how she, like, the witch's road is not how she got the Darkhold. It was something more direct. And when they find out that they've basically followed this woman on what they all were saying from Jump Street, like going down the witch's road is like a death wish. No one has come back. No one has been able to survive this path. It's gonna, like, I like that when that shoe drops. And from what Mike said, Mike told me that it is 8 episodes, and this is episode 4 tonight. So
I thought it was 9.
I think how it's like, it's 8 technically, because the last 2 episodes are going to be dropping at the same time. So I think they're treating it like 1. Could be wrong. I'll double check.
Yeah, I'm looking at on IMDb. It says 9.
9, okay. Because typically with the Marvel shows, the halfway mark is usually where the best episode is. It's kind of going back as far as the Netflix days, where whenever you hit the halfway mark on a Netflix Marvel show, that's when, like, the crazy stuff happened, the best episode. So yeah, if they're treating this like, if they're treating 4 the halfway mark and not 5, it can be either way. Both, from what I've seen like a couple of clips that are potentially the next 2 episodes, and I'm very excited for tonight. I'm very excited to see. It sucks that Sharon went out. I won't lie, Sharon dying was not. I didn't read any spoilers about anybody dying or anything like that, but I knew. Like, I'm like, yeah, Sharon's not gonna survive this. Like, I was kind of thinking she was gonna die in, like, one of the later episodes.
She was already here for another character, so like with Agatha trying to deceive everyone as far as who Miss Hart is. Like, we all know who was supposed to be on the road with them. Rio was supposed to be on the road with them. Like, I'm like I said, I'm not gonna spoil nothing, but if you know who Rio is, if you know who she is, you know why she's a catalyst, why she and Miss Hart go hand in hand. Why Miss Hart's not going to be in the any more episodes alive, but why Rio is taking her place.
Big time. So, how would you rate these first? Oh shoot! I thought you. I was checking some notes, and I didn't know Avia had disappeared. Okay, 1 second. Everybody now.
Where?
Yeah, I didn't. I thought you were talking about the connection between Mrs. Hart and Rio.
Oh, okay. Yeah, like I said, I'm not gonna spoil nothing, but if you've seen them, you know who Rio is, and you know why she and Miss Hart why interchangeable. Why you see Miss Hart in these first few episodes, and why Rio takes her place. Like, you know why. and Rio was really supposed to be the one on the road in the first place. Because you
Big
need
time.
a strong Earth Witch to survive the road.
Yep. So, I was going to ask you before I looked up from my notes and saw that you weren't stopping short. You were actually getting your connection situated. What would you rate? What is your rating for the first 3 episodes total? You don't have to go one by one. You can just give an overall number.
9 out of 10. 9 out of 10.
Yes, that's about where I align. I want to say, yeah, I'd say 9 out of 10 too as well. Presented great mysteries. The characters are great. I just wish episode 3 was longer, and that's a testament to how good the show has been so far. And yeah, I rock out with it. I'm all on board. I know a lot of people were, in my opinion, foolishly writing this show. I'm gonna be real with y'all. A lot of y'all are writing off these upcoming Disney Plus shows very stupidly, in my opinion. I know a lot of y'all, just be capping, or maybe I won't say capping, but y'all are not feeling this stuff nowadays. Some of it's been touch and go with me as well. I won't deny that, but I think that y'all were lunching out by trying to write this one off so early, because Agatha is a significant show. It is a direct follow up to one of the best. The first, in my opinion, the first 3 Marvel shows are the best. So this is a follow up to WandaVision, which is top tier, and it's certainly a better follow up than Multiverse of Madness was. And I like where it's going. I like what I've heard in the interviews from Miss Schaefer, and the creator of both WandaVision and now Agatha and the upcoming Vision show. And that there are a lot of mistakes that they made. Not mistakes. I don't think they were mistakes, but a lot of the things that they could have avoided that kind of hurt the discourse narratively wise with WandaVision. They said they learned their lesson, they were paying attention to, and they were actively trying to do better with this show, which I believe they have, especially when it comes down to laying out the mystery, not stringing some things along, and understanding what the expectations of the audience is. So I like it. I like it. It's a 9 out of 10. I'm looking forward to this episode. I'm looking forward to getting some more exposition on the witches and everything, and where it goes forward. I'm a firm believer that when it comes to the MCU, it's fruitless to try to bash it for trying to connect to other things, because that's the nature of comics, specifically Marvel. And I enjoy it. I'm enjoying it.
I did too. It was a breath of fresh air, because even though Marvel's dabbled in witchcraft and witchcraft mixed with supernatural, like with Wanda and Doctor Strange, like this one goes full in with witchcraft. Like it's a corner that they haven't really dabbled into yet, and they're doing it very successfully. And the people who are the writers and the researchers are really doing their homework on it. They're really just making it interesting to watch while still keeping true to the source material that they use for their research.
Yeah. So you got any closing marks?
Just the new episode comes on in T-minus 34 minutes. I'm gonna be watching it.
Facts.
And what's the tea is coming back. Tonight we talked about Agatha All Along, but we're gonna keep coming with some shows that we've been watching. Q, you want to tell them about the Twitch stuff that you got coming up?
Yep, Twitch stuff will be resuming shortly. We got some Marvel vs. Capcom fighting game fight arcade collections, which I'm very excited to play. We got some other games. It is October, so I will be running something I've never played on a stream before, which is Resident Evil 4. Resident Evil 4 is not it's not a scary game per se, but it is it's horror. It's definitely horror. And there's one thing I've never played on my Resident Evil 4 remake that I've been holding off, waiting for a special moment. And I think it's that time. I think October is the time to do so. And that is, of course, the Ada Wong DLC that came out last year. I've never played it. There's only a couple of things here and there I've seen from it, but nothing in its totality. So I am going to be rocking out with that. And then there's some other things. I got some playing some good things planning on it as well. So yeah, and then of course me and Mike, we have our comic show that we are going to be resuming, talking about some of our recent whatchamacalls it. I don't know why I'd be saying that so much. Recent comics that we've bought. Something I've bought today, and hopefully my green screen doesn't not show it. The first issue of the new Storm that has dropped.
Oh.
Yes. Go to your, if you frequent a comic shop, if you go to your local comic shop, get this issue. Get this. Show Marvel that we want more Storm, that this is not something we just going to let fly by in the night. We want this an ongoing for her to get a whole bunch of issues and things like that. Let's show up for the good sis. You know, this.
I like her new look. Like, I love the, like, her hair looks like clouds. Like, I love it.
Fantastic. Yep. This is a variant cover. This isn't like the standard cover is bomb as hell. I think this is what the interior artist he did they did a cover. Mr. Lucas Wernick. I believe this is the cover that they did. I wanted to see what variant covers my comic shop had, because I when it's number ones I'm interested in, I want to go ahead and go all out and just, you know, if it's a cool variant cover, get that. Not like I'm collecting it to sell. I just like getting the variant covers. It's cool. But yeah, me and Mike will be rocking out with that. A lot more different comics as well to talk to you guys about. And yeah, you know, tonight it was just me and Avia, but don't get it twisted. We are all here still. Full Force will be coming sooner than you think.
The Fab Four is about to make a return.
Yep.
Right, the Fab Four is about to return. Yeah, so like, subscribe, tell a friend to tell a friend. You know, we're here. We're not going anywhere.
Like, comment.
On TikTok, we have, like, comment. We have
subscribe.
On our TikTok, subscribe on TikTok. We have MD at the Movies, a short content form that we created about our when we go watch movies and review them. Pretty short reviews. Go check that out. You post game content on there as well. Follow us on Twitter, Instagram. We're all on social media, and just keep watching and tuning in.
Yes, indeed. In any case, I've been your boy Quamon Star G. This is Avia. We are rocking out on What's the Tea, and we will see y'all later.
That's my outro. Now I'm supposed to do the outro.
Why did you stop me? No, we're doing it correctly. We're doing it correctly.
Go ahead.
See, no, you could have
done. Live done. Live done.